Hello Internet, my name is Lave and I watched Hostiles, which is written and directed by Scott Cooper, who's made some solid films like the musical drama Crazy Heart and the crime gangster film Black Mass. Now he's tackling the Western genre, which is set in 1892 and essentially is about a soon-to-retire army captain called Joe Blocker, who is forced to take his sworn enemy, Chief Yellowhawk, who is dying of cancer, across America back to his homeland in a sort of public relation media stunt. So this movie actually starts with a quote from David Herbert Lawrence, which states, "The essential American soul is hard, isolate, stoic and a killer. It has never yet melted." And that adequately sets the tone of the film, which is exploring the American soul, particularly the character of Joe Blocker, played by Christian Bale, who puts in a typically good performance, but it's not exclusive to his character. It also explores his fellow soldiers, some of whom are veterans and they're suffering from PTSD. It's described as melancholia in this, but it also explores the rookies who are joining him on this mission and are experiencing violence and killing people for the first time. And this extends to Rosamund Pike's character, who herself has suffered a tragic loss and ends up joining them on this cross-country mission, reinforcing the message of violence begets violence, and in this post-Civil War and the resettlement of the native Indians, just how this has escalated and it affects everyone. Now, what really surprised me about the film is that when they first set off on their mission, they have to deal with this immediate threat, and I thought, oh, this is going to be awesome. They're going to try and finish their mission whilst dealing with this threat, but then this threat gets dealt with sort of off screen. I was like, okay, so it's not going to be about that. But then they encounter numerous other hostiles throughout the film. It's pretty epic in that sense. Now, ironically, as the film progresses and they deal with these situations and you find out more about the Americans and Rosamund Pike's character, the characters that get shortchanged are the natives and Chief Yellowhawk and his family. What's really frustrating is that the film takes its time to ensure that we, the audience, know that Christian Bale's character has a violent backstory and he's a bigot and he hates the Indians, but it doesn't do the same for his counterpart, Chief Yellowhawk, or his family. They're just sort of there, which is a shame because the message that it's trying to say is that these two characters are different sides to the same coin and they have to learn to work together and they have to get a mutual respect for each other. But because it's so one-sided, it didn't really hit home for me. And on that note, I definitely think that the film is too long. I was feeling the 2 hour 10, 2 hour and 20 minute runtime. An epic film doesn't have to have an epic runtime as well, especially when a lot of the character interactions which are informing you about Christian Bale's character seem to repeat themselves. For example, at the beginning of the film, he talks with one of his left-hand men who is suffering from melancholia and they reminisce about the good old days, but then in the very next scene when he's getting his mission, it seems to reinforce that message. And I just think that all of that could have been condensed down just to bring the runtime down a little bit and make the film more distilled and more impactful. Having said that, though, I really enjoyed this film on a technical level. The cinematography by Masanobu Takayanagi is excellent, the sound design and the score is also very good, and the bursts of shootouts and gunslinging violence is executed extremely well. On top of that, Scott Cooper does get excellent performances out of his actors, and I particularly like the way that he wrapped his film up, which puts a new twist on the traditional way that Western films end. So that's my thoughts on Hostiles, and pause the video if you want to take a closer look at my enjoyment tracker now. It's a solid Western which harkens back to the traditional Westerns, but I just feel that there are better examples of more contemporary films which have done it better. It's a solid film in the same way that Black Mass is a solid gangster film, but if it's a choice between Black Mass and watching Martin Scorsese's Goodfellas, I'm always going to choose Goodfellas. But that's not saying that Black Mass is a bad film. So thanks very much for watching my review of Hostiles. I really do appreciate it. If you can, give this video a like and don't forget to share the lave. Go away. Subscribe.